Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Between Paychecks Kitchen. I'm Oz, Jack and Lady Still at Lake Jackson, and now we're going to do a little something special because it's Thanksgiving time, right? It's around the holidays. It's Thanksgiving here in the States, so Jack's going to be taking care of our meat, our big jerky thing. He's going to be smoking and doing all that stuff, which is awesome. So I'm going to be doing the sides, man. So this is going to be good. I always wanted to try this. I always wanted to try dressing and stuffing. I've always just used the box stuff, but apparently this is relatively easy, relatively safe for me to try. There's only a little bit of cutting. So that's the thing. Before we get into it, be sure to like, share, subscribe, ring the little bell for the notifications and stuff. Be sure check out our merch down in the thing. We got new stuff that's going to be added sometime this week or next week. So keep track of that. Look at our aprons and all our utensils and stuff. It'll be really great. And let's get into it. Alright, so looks like a lot of stuff, but it's not really. So you're going to need an onion. You're going to need about 3/4 of a cup for that. You're going to need a couple cloves of garlic. We're going to use a little more than that. The egg, which I didn't tell you, is going to need 3 or 4 stalks of celery. 2/3 of a cup of butter, 1 large loaf of the French bread, if you can find it anywhere, 3 to 4 cups of your chicken broth, and then half a teaspoon or a tablespoon, depending on your stuff, of pepper and salt. And then when it comes down to your sage and thyme, you're only going to need 3 teaspoons, and then your parsley, you're going to need 1/4 cup of that stuff. All right, so there's your thyme. Okay, always make room for thyme. Or I always make time for room, whatever. So you're going to need to stale your bread. I got this fresh 3 days ago and left it in the bag, and it staled for itself. If you don't want to do that, you can take it, go ahead and break it down into 1-inch sections as best you can. Put it on a baking sheet and let it set overnight. You know, put some foil or plastic over it so the bugs get out, but that'll keep it in there. You kind of see how hard mine got. So that was just in the bag. So you can put a cookie sheet on it, let it do whatever. So you can see how hard this is. It's supposed to be stale for whatever reason. That's what the recipe I'm going for. So go ahead and break this down into 1-inch pieces as you can. I didn't want to use my knife on it because I didn't want to dull it or risk accidentally cutting off my finger if it gave way. I don't know why you can't just use like croutons or stuff, but it's bread. It's the easiest way to do it. So it took me a little while. Break these down into about 1-inch chunks as best you can and set them aside. All right. Then you want to go ahead and wash your veg, man. Your 3 things of celery and your onion. Go ahead and peel that down, and then cut these up into smaller pieces. You don't want great big hunks of celery in there, so just take your time, kind of chop it all down. I cheated and layered all 3 stalks of celery, trying to show off how good I do it, and then I screwed up. So your onion, it's roughly 3/4 of an onion, and I just went ahead and chopped it up. I think you're only supposed to have like 3/4 of a cup, so it's pretty much a lot of onion. Chop that up, set it aside. Your garlic, again, it's garlic. It's lovely. It's just like life. It doesn't have to be perfect, especially if you got this ginormous knife. Again, shout out to Andy for giving me the knife that keeps trying to take off my finger, which I didn't cut myself in this recipe either. I'm kind of going on a good run here of not cutting myself. So cut these up into as small pieces as you can. Like I said, the recipe only called for 2 to 3. That means 5 to 6. So go ahead and set those aside. All right, now get you a decent sized skillet, right? Put in your butter. Now, I'm going to show you this butter. Like I always tell you, it's got the markings on the side that'll tell you what it is. Now, you need 2/3. So that's a third right there, so we can cut that off. I'm not good at math, and it's not exact, so I'm just going to get 2 sticks, and you can get the third and cut them off. So put them in there, put it about medium heat, let that start to melt, right? Get you a nice spatulator, which is not a flipper, it's a spatula. Go ahead and put your celery and onion in here and let them get sauteed. It's going to take about 5-6 minutes. You want them to get break down and be almost translucent like your onions and stuff. You don't want them really hard and crispy while you're doing this. All right, so just go ahead and put those in there. Get you a large bowl while you're aside. All right, just keep it going. Preheat your oven to 350. In that big bowl, you want to put your bread in. Okay, I'm just going to show you here, just beep, boop, boop, like trying to get it done. Let these keep sauteing and break it down. Like this is a couple minutes in. You can kind of see how it's starting to cook down. Don't worry, because it looks like a lot of butter. It is, but it's going to mix with everything else. It's just like that. So after about 5 minutes, go ahead and throw in your garlic and cook it for another 1 minute to let that garlic kind of saute around in there, okay? After your minute, you're just going to turn your heat off, set it aside. Again, over in the other bowl, you want to go ahead and just put your bread in it while it's sitting there, while your oven's preheating to 350. Right, set this stuff aside. All right, now you got your bread, and now you want to add all your seasoning stuff to it. Now, I used a full teaspoon of black pepper because I enjoyed it. Now you're going to do your thyme. Again, it's 3 teaspoons of that. Always be sure to add thyme and everything. Then your sage as well, which is all the things I didn't have in my house was sage. So especially in Texas, you figure like maybe some sagebrush someplace, but it's just sage. So get that in there. Now you can use the fresh stuff for this. To fit my budget, I got all the dried stuff. Now your parsley, you need a 1/4 cup of this stuff. Just go ahead and put it on there. Not tightly packed, but put it in there. Now, on top of all that, just go ahead and put that whole pan of stuff you were cooking earlier. All the butter, onions, and celery in on top of your bread. Use your little spatula and knock it all down. Now, take it and give it a decent stir. Now, I forgot to put the salt in here, so I'm going to start stirring it up here, then I'm going to have to go back and add the salt. So go ahead and try to get a nice stir, get all that stuff over it. See, told you, I forgot the salt. Just the salt, you only want to use 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon of salt, depending on how much bread, like because the bigger your loaf, right? So now you got that nice and stirred up. Get you a medium-sized bowl, then you get your chicken broth. You want 3 to 4 cups. I used 3 cups because I didn't get a lot of bread out of that one loaf. You know, they said 12 cups, and I roughly got 6 to 8. So go ahead and just use 3. You're probably not going to use all of it. Take your 1 egg and put it in there. Get you a whisk, and then just beat it like it owes you money. It's going to turn this nice, beautiful yellow color. Like I wish I could find that for a painting that I'm working on. But go ahead and whisk it like that. Movie magic. My hand didn't really move that fast. I'm sorry. But go ahead and get it nice in there, and then you want to start stirring it in and stir it in slow. You want this stuff to be wet but not soggy, so you might not use all of this. But so just add about 1/3 of it, stir it, make sure it gets all wet, because the bread's going to soak a lot of that up, especially that super stale bread, right? So add a little more, give it a nice stir. Tricky is you want to put it in there when you move the bread so out of the way. You don't want the liquid to be sitting on the bottom of the bowl, right? So if you stir it, there's none in there, add it, stir it, add it, stir it. I think I ended up using all 3 cups in the 1 egg. I'm going to show you this. Like, look, it's nice and stirred. This is really slow compared to what I was doing. So, this looks bad. You see, there's just a little bit of liquid. It's going to get soaked up, so you don't want to put too much, right? Get that nice and stirred and set that aside. Now, get you a 9 by 13. You're going to need 9 by 13, and you're going to get a little bit of butter and just rub it down, get it in there. This keeps it from sticking to the sides, and it gives a nice buttery flavor, other than the 2/3 of butter you already put in there. So I just took that extra pat of butter and just put it in there. No such thing as too much butter, as I was told. Go ahead and scrape this stuff in, pat it down, make it nice and uniform looking as best you can. Get that in there. Pat, pat, pat. Like the bread, I might not have got as small as I did. I think some of the pieces that were on the bottom were a lot bigger than the ones on top that I saw, but it looks fine. So get you some foil. I don't operate foil very well. Until this tear, I've never been so happy with a tear of foil in my life. Like it's usually all jagged and weird. So to get it nice and covered, your oven should be preheated by now to 350, right? So 350, so now you put it in for 40 minutes. That's what that 40 was for. So go ahead and let it cook with the thing on it. Now this, it's a preview of what's coming next because I cooked these together. We'll get you a fake hand. Make sure to use your fake hand because it's really hot. Go ahead and pull this out. Now, the plate on the thing works like a lid, but it is not the most stable of stuff. So, you see how this looks? This is good. This is after 40 minutes. Been sitting there. Whoop. Okay, so I almost messed up and dumped that over. So be very, very careful with this. It's very hot. Go ahead and get my other oven mitt. Now you take the foil off and put it back in for another 15 to 20 minutes until it's like a golden brown and stuff on it, and how brown you want it. This is after 18 minutes is what I counted, and set it aside because it is going to be hot. But this smells so amazing. This is great. You should absolutely try this. And that's all it took. This took, I think, most expensive vegetables, bread were like $1. Everything else was stuff that I had sitting around. So this is very cheap. And you could use this as a meal anywhere else, but it's perfect for a side. It's a classic traditional breading dressing to the side. It's it's not stuffing. That's a whole different thing. We'll cover that in a minute. But yeah, this is great. You gotta try this out. And there you have it, folks. A fairly passable dressing, not stuffing, because I didn't put it in the bird. So this is technically a dressing. I was complained to that I was using the wrong terminology. So there's the thing. The nomenclature was incorrect. So this is a dressing. This is something you just serve on the side. If you do it differently, you want to see us do it differently, man, I'd love to know your family recipes. I want to try some more of this stuff. We got Christmas coming up, New Year's. We usually do a lot of this stuff through the holidays. So let me know. Put it down in the comments. Or find us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Pinterest, and Patreon at Living Between Paychecks Kitchen. Shout out to all our patrons. Thank you very much. As soon as we figure out how to put the words here. We're going to put your names up here so I give you a proper shout out. We very much apologize for that, doing it forever. You can also find us on Instagram at Living Between. We do a lot of posting over there. Connect with a lot of other food people, which is great. So we'll see you next time, man. And be sure to check out our merch. Like, it's great for the holidays. Trust me. And I'm going to do some more sides, so stay tuned.